How's it going, everyone? Today, it's my pleasure to bring you a detailed, in-depth look at the 2004 Chrysler Crossfire. And this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Crossfire. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data, as well as show you a bunch of the unique aspects of the interior, as well as exterior. And before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to extend a big thanks and special shout out to my dad's dealership, Car Connections Incorporated, located in Reedsville, North Carolina, for providing the Crossfire featured in today's video. It's also the official location of Southgallo 4 LLC. To check out a little bit more of his inventory, check out carconnectionsnc.com. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up. Let her run. The exterior color is known as graphite metallic, with a very unique dark slate gray and canyon leather interior. The Crossfire features our circulating ball power assist steering and a unique 4-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheels and a nice thickness to it, as well as some metallic silver inlays coming across each spoke. The car steering is also delightfully tight and has a hint of German to it, which makes sense because many of the Chrysler Crossfire's components are derived from the Mercedes SLK back when Daimler Chrysler were partnered together. Now, the Crossfire can be ordered with two different optional gearboxes, one being a standard 6-speed manual, but a little bit more common is the optional 5-speed automatic like we see here. Manual shiftability down below via the little auto stick feature, as well as winter and standard modes. In normal day-to-day driving, you'll pretty much use standard, but in snow and ice conditions where more traction is needed, switch it over to winter mode. And when you start the vehicle from a stop, it'll automatically start rolling in second gear rather than first to eliminate some possible wheel slippage. Also, when you go in reverse, there's also a little second reverse gear that also eliminates a little bit of wheel slippage, so you gain a little bit extra traction for it. But, like I said, during normal day-to-day driving, especially during the summertime, you don't really want to leave it in winter mode because since it starts the vehicle in second gear, it'll kind of limit performance and off-the-line acceleration, so just leave it in standard mode unless the traction scenario really necessitates using the winter mode. And so we have flip on the headlamps, as well as the fog lamps, and the hazards. Both windows are automatic down. And we're going to check out the exterior, shall we? The Chrysler Crossfire is a 2-seat, rear-wheel drive sports car produced from 2004 to 2008. And available as both a coupe and roadster, not to mention respective supercharged SRT models. Beginning around $35,000, it represented the first car produced from the collaborative efforts between Chrysler and Mercedes after the formation of Daimler Chrysler back in 1998. Crossfire would be the brand's newest flagship, built in Germany and styled in America, pitting it as a direct competitor to other import sports cars in Japan and Europe such as Nissan's 350Z and Audi's TT. Based on the R170 generation Mercedes SLK 320 Roadster, the Crossfire was more of a readaptation of last year's SLK, as the all-new R171 generation was soon to hit showrooms. The major components shared include the engine, transmission, chassis, and suspension components, of which Chrysler claimed only amounted to about 39% of the total vehicle. The rest was custom designed and tuned to not only be stiffer than the SLK, but have its own unique flavor than just simply being a rebody. The Crossfire gets its name from the unique body lines that visually cross over into a negative formation across each door and form an X when looking at it from the side. The boat tail styling may be a bit polarizing for the traditional American car buyer and may not be to everyone's taste, but for those who can appreciate it will notice the classic proportions and Art Deco themes found throughout. These themes are most noticeably echoed in the 6 speed lines that flow up the hood, as well as the center spine that begins at the nose, follows the roof, and comes down across the rear of the vehicle. The spine is also mirrored throughout the interior across the dash and the headliner for uniformity. Aside from its fixed roof, the Crossfire's profile dramatically differs from the SLK thanks to its large, staggered wheels, significantly larger than the largest 17 inches found in the Mercedes. While later offered as a roadster, the fixed-roof Crossfire already had an improved structural stiffness over the SLK with its folding metal roof. But the suspension was further tuned, damping was firmed up, and it received larger anti-roll bars to help limit body roll while still preserving a smooth ride. Aside from the Chrysler-specific tuning and modifications for the wheels, the suspension design is largely from the SLK and a few bits from the previous generation E-Class and C-Class. Body rigidity was claimed at a very impressive 51 Hz and was actually said to be stiffer than the Porsche 911 at the time. Other signature bits for the Crossfire include a tuned center-mounted exhaust for a more pronounced raspy sound, as well as an automatically deploying rear wing to help increase downforce at higher speeds. It automatically deploys at 57 miles an hour and returns back below 39 miles an hour. The SRT6 version was introduced in 2005 and was also offered in both fixed-roof and roadster counterparts. In addition to some different features, is significantly different in performance. While you could only get a 6-speed manual in the base Crossfire, the SRT featured the AMG-built supercharged 3.2-liter V6 that gave the Crossfire an extra 115 horsepower. In addition, it received unique body cladding, bigger brakes, stiffer dampers, special wheels, a fixed rear spoiler, and Alcantara seating surfaces. While the base Crossfire was around 11 grand cheaper than the base SLK, the SRT launched it back up to around 45 grand. In its standard form, it offered typical Mercedes performance with a proven drivetrain. With a well-equipped features list, unique styling, and a wide profile, it makes for a great bargain when finding one in good shape. The Crossfire came standard with staggered, silver-painted cast aluminum wheels measuring 18 by 7.5 inches in front and larger 19 by 9 inches in the rear, having higher-performing summer tires, 225/40s in front and 255/35s in the rear. In testing, it was shown to hold up to 0.91 G in lateral cornering forces on the skid pad. Stopping power is provided by 11.8 by 1.1 inch ventilated disc brakes in front and 10.9 by 0.4 inch solid discs in the rear, bringing the vehicle to a stop from 60 miles an hour in an average of 116 feet. As far as the suspension, it's fully independent and features double wishbones up front, as well as a 5-link rear setup with coil springs and stabilizer bars. Overall length is 159.8 inches with a width of 69.5 inches and a height of 51.4 inches and shares the exact same wheelbase as the SLK. Total curb weight is around 3,100 pounds. And we're going to pop the hood. Being that the Crossfire takes many of its underpinnings from the Mercedes SLK 320, you'll also see a familiar power plant in the form of an all-aluminum 3.2-liter V6 that drives the rear wheels. It's a single overhead cam engine with 3 valves per cylinder, dual variable valve timing, hydraulic lifters, and port fuel injection. With a 10-to-1 compression ratio, the engine produces a respectable 215 horsepower at 5,700 RPM and 229 pound-feet of torque at 3,000 RPM. Max RPM's cap is 6,000. These numbers translate to 0 to 60 times of 6.5 seconds, with quarter-mile times of 14.8 seconds at 96 miles an hour, with a drag-limited top speed of 151 miles an hour. It isn't necessarily a fast or rev-happy vehicle, but it is peppy when cruising around town. The power is delivered smoothly with a throaty engine note. Fuel economy is also pretty reasonable too, I would say. With a 15.9-gallon tank, it requires premium fuel, and returns miles per gallon ratings between 18 city and 27 on the highway. The interior of the Crossfire was nothing like the rest of Chrysler's lineup at the time. It's a blend of Mercedes technology with unique designs specific to the Crossfire that give it a stylish, upscale look without having to pay the cost of an SLK. The majority of the touchpoints found throughout are covered in soft material, whereas bright silver-painted trim covers the majority of the center console aside from the metal gear lever. Two-tone color schemes and a nice list of standard equipment make it quite attractive for the price point. The doors also feature stitched center portions with side airbags and storage nets down below. When designing the car, engineers had to work within the confines of the SLK's front and rear bulkheads, which unfortunately limit legroom to those over 6 feet. However, the domed roof does allow for good headroom once you're inside. But thanks to the boat tail roofline, rearward visibility also takes some getting used to. The sporty leather bucket seats provide a nice amount of support and good overall comfort for a sports car. The Chrysler logo is embossed on the top of the fixed headrests, and it also features color accent stitching with a unique pattern coming across the middle portion of the seats that kind of give a perforated look to them. The seats are also power adjusting. Across the threshold, unique aluminum door sill entry guards as well as aluminum sport pedals. The steering wheel is manual telescoping only, and only the upper portion of the dash features the soft touch material. It's all finished off with a gray headliner that mimics the spine that you would see on the exterior bodywork. So let's go and see how she sounds. There is a rev limiter and park and neutral around 4,000 RPM. Nice smooth power plant and a unique exhaust note. So we're going to shut her up. The Crossfire comes standard with a 240-watt premium Infinity audio system, AM/FM with an in-dash CD player. Audio quality and clarity is fantastic, especially for 2004, with deep, rich lows and a nice balance of treble. It also has this quote-unquote luxury feature that gradually fades in and out the radio when you're changing between stations or turning the vehicle on and off, so it's not an abrupt sound change. You do have side curtain airbags, as well as visors up top with rear-view mirrors and a little bit of a card holder. You also have an auto-dimming rear-view mirror and your interior illumination and reading lamps located up top. check out behind the seat real quick. All you have to do, just pull both buttons simultaneously and slide it forward. And there's not much back there, just a speaker and a little storage net. Open up the hatch of the Crossfire and you'll find around 7.6 cubic feet of overall cargo space. Not a lot, but definitely enough for a few suitcases for a little bit of a weekend getaway. It does also feature some illumination off to the left for loading stuff up at night, and being that it is a hatch, it does have good height for some taller items. The passenger seat also features the same power adjustments that you found on the driver's. Lockable glove box. Light didn't fill. When the car is on, the little light comes on. The Crossfire was definitely a unique addition to the Chrysler fleet. Its parts sharing helped keep costs down, while giving it a price and features list to help keep it competitive with comparing brands. While short-lived, they're quirky cars that not only handle well, but are comfortable and pleasant to drive for those who fit. A great option for those looking for something just a little bit different. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this detailed look at the 2004 Chrysler Crossfire. Be sure to stay tuned next time. There's a lot more where that came from. Take care, everybody.